بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأراضين أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف قال الله الحكيم في كتابه الكريم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح ورأيت الناس يدخلون في دين الله أفواجا فسبح بحمد ربك واستغفره إنه كان توابا صدق الله العلي العظيم. We want to have some reflections on this surah, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for guidance. Surah an-Nasr is very brief but has very profound ideas. The surahs which are small are not small in their significance, they are just small in their size. Actually, they can be very, very significant. They can involve messages which are very important, and therefore sometimes because of the significance of that message, one chapter is dedicated to that message. Imagine if someone is lecturing, for example, imagine if Rasulullah is giving sermon, khutbah. If one day he speaks half an hour, another day he only speaks 2 minutes. These 2 minutes can be very important. It's so important that Rasulullah just wanted to mention this, nothing else. So you should never judge about the significance of the verses by their size and say Surah Baqarah, for example, is the most important surah. No, it's not according to size. All the chapters of the Quran are important, and I think when something has been expressed as a chapter, independent chapter, and not as part of another chapter, this by itself shows that there is an idea that how somehow independently Allah wanted to express and dedicated one chapter to this. Okay. إذا جاء النصر الله والفتح. Nasr in Arabic sometimes means victory, but here perhaps Nasr doesn't mean victory because we have Fath, which means victory. So we probably here have to understand Nasr as assistance, because Nasr can be victory and can mean assistance. Nasrun min Allah wa fathun qareeb. It can be a victory from God and near victory, or it can be a help from God and near victory. So Nasr can mean one of the two. Perhaps here we can say assistance, and then we have Fath, which means victory. So, إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ وَالْفَتْحِ. You know, in Arabic, there is a difference between in and إِذَا. What is the difference? If it was إِن جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ وَالْفَتْحِ instead of إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ وَالْفَتْحِ. The difference is the difference between if and when in English. If I say, if this happens, do this, this doesn't indicate that this is going to happen. But when I say when this happens, do this, it means that this is going to happen. So Allah doesn't say in ja'a nasrullahi wal fath, idha ja'a nasrullah. So it's indicating that this is going to happen. Okay, so Allah is informing that this is going to happen, that assistance and victory from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would come. Of course, Rasulullah and Muslims had lots of victories, but this is a special victory. Yeah, for sure they had lots of success and victories in the past. There were, for example, different battles they managed to defend themselves and defeat enemies. There were victories. But here refers to a victory which is, history changing. A great victory. Yeah, something very great. Something that can be a sign of success of Rasulullah during his life to establish Islam, to establish religion of God. A very special victory. إِذَا جَاءَ النَّصْرُ اللَّهِ وَالْفَتْحُ, when that great victory happens, and as a result, رَأَيْتَ النَّاسِ يَدْخُلُونَ فِي دِينِ اللَّهِ أَفْوَاجًا. What is victory? Every person may have different understanding of victory. Some people think if they make money, that is victory. Some people think that if they go and invade another country and add to their territory, this is victory. The kings in the past, for example, or empires, they talk about victory means going and taking someone else's land and adding to your own country. But this is not Islamic victory. Victory is when you are following the path of God and are able to help other people to follow the same path. So when you can help people to be faithful, to get near to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is victory. Just, for example, adding to number of mosques is not a victory. Adding to, number of publications is not a victory by itself. But when we increase presence of God among human beings, that is victory, because that's sign of success, progress. رَأَيْتَ النَّاسِ يَدْخُلُونَ فِي دِينِ اللَّهِ أَفْوَاجًا. People can always come in one or two. One person becomes faithful, two people. But when great assistance and victory come, it's not a matter of one person, two people. You see people come to the religion of God afwajan, not only fawjan. Fawj means a group, but afwaj means in groups. 50 people, 100 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people, one tribe, two tribes, 10 tribes. Who prepared their hearts for guidance? This cannot be anyone's work. Of course, we believe that even if one person is guided by someone, still it is assistance of Allah. But you cannot call it fath. You can say it's assistance, but if it is fath, if it is victory coming from Allah, that is when you can win hearts of people. This is the real victory, that hearts of people are soft and open for you. Inshallah, if we follow the same path that Rasulullah showed us, then for us also, inshallah, the hearts of people will be opened. But that is when we follow the same path and we do it with utmost sincerity, not to bring people towards ourselves. Help people to go towards God. Even doesn't say يَدْخُلُونَ, for example, they enter your religion or your madhab. It's a matter of Allah. Fi din Allah. Yeah? The focus is on moving towards God, not towards me or you. We are not significant. We are just like mirrors reflecting light of God and helping people to find their way towards God. We should not invite people towards ourselves. Rasulullah says, according to Allah's command, قُلْ هَذِهِ سَبِيلِي أَدْعُو إِلَى اللَّهِ عَلَى بَصِيرَةٍ أَنَا وَمَنِ اتَّبَعَنِي. Tell people, this is my way. هَذِهِ سَبِيلِي. This is my way. أَدْعُو إِلَى اللَّهِ. I call people towards God. Even I don't call people towards myself, although I am a prophet or messenger, or towards my message. I call them towards God. If they come towards me or towards my message, it's because in my message, my invitation, they can find a path towards God. Allah is the most important thing. So you would see groups of people يَدْخُلُونَ فِي دِينِ اللَّهِ. They enter the religion of God, as if religion of God is like an ocean. They enter this ocean. يَدْخُلُونَ فِي دِينِ اللَّهِ. It doesn't say, for example, they believe. It says they enter religion. It's like people who go to ocean. This shows that the religion of Allah is so inclusive, so vast, that even if millions of people come to it, there is a space for everyone. No one should think that, we have limited space. If there is limit, it's coming from our understanding. Otherwise, Allah has no limit. Allah welcomes everyone. If all people go towards Allah, there will be no queue. They don't need to stand in queue because Allah is very busy. All of them can go towards Allah, and Allah is for everyone 100%. Yeah. We human beings, if one person comes to us, we may pay attention to him or not, and even if we pay attention, there's a limit. When 2 people come, that attention will be less. When 3 people come, becomes less. And sometimes we have to say, sorry, please wait, I finish with this gentleman and then I come to you. But when all people go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and at the same time all angels pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, still Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free. La yashghaluhu sha'nun, and sha'an, nothing makes him busy so that he cannot pay attention to other things. This has implication. This means that any person who goes towards Allah, Allah is 100% for him, available. Listens to him, listens to her. You have full attention of Allah for yourself. So, religion of Allah is very inclusive. يَدْخُلُونَ فِي دِينِ اللَّهِ أَفْوَاجًا. So when you see this, and you are going to see this, because it says إِذَا, you are going to see this, فَسَبِّحْ بِحَمْدِ رَبِّكَ. Now you should be in your utmost remembrance of God. If victory is from God, it makes you more humble, more grateful, and more mindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you see that a success is not making you more humble and more grateful and more mindful of Allah, it means that you have not seen that success as something from God. You think it's your achievement. You said, I, alhamdulillah, did this and now I can relax or prepare myself for another success. But a mu'min totally relies on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And any success that comes, he knows that this is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, it makes him even more humble, more grateful. And actually, if there is any success, it is when we have been able to have better opportunities for remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a very important point. Any success is when we have created better opportunities for remembrance of Allah for ourselves and others. For example, we want to make a school, Islamic school. Why? At the end, this should mean we are creating better opportunities for remembrance of Allah. We are helping poor people. We are helping people who are ill. Anything that we do is a remembrance of action, a kind of instance of remembrance of God, which leads to more opportunities for remembrance of God. The story of Musa alayhi salam and Fir'awn is very special. You know, there are lots of stories in this, lots of lessons in this story, and therefore Allah many times in the Quran has mentioned no prophet apart from our prophet is that much mentioned that Musa alayhi salam is mentioned. And we have a hadith that what happened to the Bani Israel will happen also to you. So there are lots of lessons to take. One of the things we find about a story of Musa and Fir'awn is that when Allah said to them to go to Fir'awn, one of the commands of Allah, in addition to قُولَا لَهُ قَوْلًا لَيِّنًا whatsoever, which are very important and in other places we have discussed, Allah said, وَلَا تَنِيَا فِي ذِكْرِ وَلَا تَنِيَا فِي ذِكْرِ. Do your best with my remembrance. Don't fall short with respect to my remembrance. It's a matter of saving Bani Israel, speaking to Fir'awn and perhaps changing his behavior or his attitude. But it's all a matter of remembrance of God. In this mission, your success can be measured by what? By you becoming more mindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Musa alayhi salam also, when he was given this task by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, first Allah asked him to go and then he asked for helper. He said, رَبِّ اشْرَحْ لِي صَدْرِي وَيَسِّرْ لِي أَمْرِي وَاحْلُلْ عُقْدَةً مِّن لِسَانِي يَفْقَهُ قَوْلِي وَاجْعَلْ لِي وَزِيرًا مِّنْ أَهْلِي هَارُونَ أَخِي أُشْدُدْ بِهِ أَزْرِي وَأَشْرِكْهُ فِي أَمْرِي. Why? Why all these things? Musa, why do you want all these things? كَيْ نُسَبِّحَكَ كَثِيرًا وَنَذْكُرَكَ كَثِيرًا. He didn't say, I want all this to be successful. Of course, he meant for success he needs this, but he said success is this, كَيْ نُسَبِّحَكَ كَثِيرًا وَنَذْكُرَكَ كَثِيرًا, so that we can glorify you more. We can do more tasbih. We can do more dhikr. We must try to bring more light to this world. Zikr is this, means bring light of Allah to this world. Zikr means to remove barriers for light of Allah to come. So success is when you manage to remove barriers and let light of God be spread. This is success. So when this success comes, فَسَبِّحْ بِحَمْدِ رَبِّكَ. You should do tasbeeh and tasbih comes with hamd. In the Quran, many times you find tasbih and hamd together. Many times. And beautifully, this is also reflected in Salat. Not only in Quran, in Salat also, this is reflected. Subhan Rabbi al-Azim wa bihamdih. Subhan Rabbi al-A'la wa bihamdih. Tasbih and Hamd come together. In Surah Yunus, when Allah talks about people of Jannah, Allah says, دعواهم فيها سبحانك اللهم وتحيتهم فيها سلام وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. Their call is tasbih. Their greetings is salam. And end of their conversation and call is hamd. آخر دعواهم. This means that hamd is part of tasbih. Tasbih, is very inclusive. Includes hamd. Why? Because first says da'wahum fiha subhanaka Allahumma, and then says akhiru da'wahum hamd. Akhiru kulli shay juz'un min ash-shay. Yeah? When you say last part of something is part of it, isn't it? If I say last part of this book is about this subject, so this means that this book has addressed this subject. Akhiru da'wahum an alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen, and all da'wahum subhanaka Allahumma. So it means that hamd is part of tasbih. So tasbih includes hamd. Also tasbih includes La ilaha illallah, tahleel. Because in the story of Yunus, when Yunus was in the stomach of whale, he said, La ilaha illa ant subhanaka inni kuntu min al-zalimin. Okay? So he said three things. La ilaha illallah. He said, La ilaha illa ant, which is like La ilaha illallah, is tahleel. Subhanaka, tasbih. Inni kuntu min al-zalimin, which is admission, it's like istighfar. Okay? So La ilaha illallah, tasbih, istighfar. But elsewhere, Allah says, Lawla innahu min al-musabbihin, la labisa fi batnih. Had it not been that he was musabbih. So it means that tahleel and istighfar all go under tasbih. Tahleel and istighfar go under tasbih. Tasbih is the major thing. So, sabbih bihamdi rabbik. Do tasbih, but make sure that your tasbih involves hamd. Because tasbih means you emphasis on greatness of Allah and glory of Allah by negating any imperfection, any deficiency from Allah. This is the meaning of tasbih. You say Allah is greater than any impurity, any deficiency, any imperfection. If you want to have tasbih with hamd, means at the same time also you have to highlight the positive side, not just negate the difficulties. A perfect tasbih is that you have both attributes of beauty and glory of Allah together. So at the same time that you reject what Allah is not, you emphasis on what Allah is and mention His good and beautiful attributes. So فَسَبِّحْ بِحَمْدِ رَبِّكَ. Be focused on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Leave aside anything which can be a sign of limit, a sign of imperfection, and praise Him for all the beautiful qualities that He has and all the beautiful actions that He has done. We do hamd for two things: beautiful qualities that He has and beautiful actions that He has done. And in this process, when you see how great is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and how has helped you and brought you success, you feel you have lots of shortcomings. So you do istighfar. Instead of becoming proud and said, I brought victory, you feel you have not been able to do justice. Allah has been so generous, so kind, so supportive, but you have not been able to do enough. So you do istighfar. Wastaghfirullah. This istighfar does not let you to become arrogant. This istighfar keeps you humble and makes you even more humble. Our work many times is not limited because of enemies. It's true that sometimes, our work is limited because of enemies or external forces. But many times it is us that we limit our own work. If we had more ikhlas, if we had more wisdom, if we had more basira, if we had more unity, more focus, better planning, we could do better. Okay? Normally we want to blame others. But a mu'min at the same time that knows what others are doing, but his focus is what he should do. Because I cannot change others, but I can change myself. So a mu'min should be always evaluating himself and herself and find out where he was not doing well. So when you do istighfar, it means that you have been able to identify where you had problems and shortcomings. And therefore you do istighfar. This istighfar is very strategic. Because this istighfar means you are in that level of self-consciousness and self-assessment that you can identify where you made mistake, and therefore in future you are going to be better. Otherwise you remain the same or become even worse. إِنَّهُ كَانَ تَوَّابًا. Allah is certainly, inna is for ta'keed, and there is kana, and also is jumliya ismiya, is with lots of emphasis. إِنَّهُ كَانَ تَوَّابًا. Tawbah is used both for Allah and both for us. We do tawbah in the sense of we return to Allah. After committing a sin, we return to Allah. But Allah is also tawwab. In some lectures, we explained Allama Tabataba'i's idea that actually every return of us is surrounded by two return of Allah. He returns to us so that we return to Him, and then He again returns to us. The Quran mentions both of them. Taballahu alayhim liyatubu. They returned. Why? Because first, Taballahu alayhim. Allah returned to them by preparing them for Tawbah. Like when your child runs away from home, you send someone to bring your child. So the first initiative comes from Allah. He sends invitation to us and also prepares our heart for Tawbah. Then when we do Tawbah, He comes and embraces us, hugs us, kisses us, says, don't worry, you are forgiven, and even He gives you some gift. So, إِنَّهُ كَانَ تَوَّابًا. He is very much forgiving. Tawwab is sighi mubaligha. He is not only forgiving, He is very much forgiving. He is very easily forgiving. So, this is a brief reflection on Surah an-Nasr. And it is said that when this surah was revealed, Ibn Abbas said, it seems that the death of the Prophet is very near. He had this familiarity with the Quran and language of Quran, that from this he sensed that the death of the Prophet or demise of the Prophet is very near. I hope, inshallah, we would be able to follow the same path that prophets and messengers and awliyaullah have showed us, and dedicate our life, inshallah, to remembrance of Allah and bringing the light of Allah to our heart and mind first, then to our family, then to our community and to humanity wherever we are. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillah rabbil alamin.